Dr. Andrew Flessner. I know a couple of people have seen me or maybe even talked to me, at least maybe I think one person in here. I'd like to give you a little history about myself before we kind of dive right into this, and I want to thank you guys obviously for coming out here on a Friday afternoon. Try not to keep it too long, but you're obviously here for a reason, so that's why we're going to discuss all the great parts of this program. But I started here in November, so I'm kind of fairly new. Started working with Dr. Boyd. Previous stuff that I've done, I've worked over in Villa Park, doing kind of the same stuff over there, but more physical therapy. Started to do a lot more nutrition when I came over here, and we wanted to develop a new program basically, and we decided that it would be a good idea to develop, a weight loss program, because not because everybody does it, obviously you don't want to do the same thing that everybody else does, but we wanted to develop a program that we thought really worked when a lot of those other programs out there don't, because we'd often have people coming in and talking to us about weight loss and what they could do for this and that. So we decided to put together this program, and we feel like it really encompasses all the different aspects of one, all the other weight loss programs out there, but also includes a lot more than that. So we think it's really a total package, basically, and kind of hits all the important points when it comes to a weight loss program, but also really stresses the idea of how important it is to be able to maintain your results, one, when you get there and you achieve your goals, and two, how important it is to have a program that's really personalized. So the idea is that, one person's journey through weight loss is not going to be the same as this person and as this person. And we even had some people in the last group, their goal wasn't really to lose weight, they're already very healthy. Their goal was more to just continue what they were doing, get even more healthy, or get a kind of a better hold on their health, get educated and all that. So it's not even a program really just to lose weight, it's really a life kind of style changing program basically. The idea is that we're not just going to force you into this mold and then shoot for a certain number to lose and then we're like, goodbye, go do your own thing. I tell everybody that when they're leaving this program that they will know exactly how to maintain the results going forward, and it'll be easy because one, they're not starving and they're not sacrificing. Everything they do is something that they've agreed to do. We've talked about, and they said, I'm okay with this, I think I can maintain and keep doing this. Alright, so that's kind of a little intro, but basically we're going to start with a question, which is, why are you really here exactly? Everybody's going to have a different reason for, wanting to do a program like this, whether it is specifically you have a number in mind and that's what you want to see on the scale, and then that's what you think will kind of fulfill whatever you're going for, or maybe you are just looking to be generally more healthy, you'd like to lose a few pounds, but you're not looking to drop a ton of weight, or maybe you already feel like you're pretty healthy, you're pretty happy with where you are, but you just want to get more educated or kind of get to a peak level, anything like that. So you kind of got to think about why you're starting a program like this and where you're at right now before you go forward, because if you don't know where you're starting out, then how can you make a plan really to go forward? I mean, if you're just walking around every once in a while going, I know I need to lose weight, or I'm not healthy, or this and that, then a starting point like that is not really a good place to be. You have to, one, kind of mentally be prepared, and you have to say, I know this is my problem now, this is my problem now, this is where I'm at, and these are all things that I have to change. Because part of the reason people, when they start a weight loss program and they go back or they gain the weight back, is because one, they didn't really take a mental note of where they were at and what was causing the problems in the first place. They just think, well, I'm overweight, so I'm going to try this diet, then I'm going to hit a number, and then I'm going to go back to the way I was before. But the truth is, the way you were before is the reason you got there, not that some other thing was all of a sudden causing you to lose weight. And it goes beyond that too, and we'll get more and more into that. It's not all your guys' fault, don't worry. There's other things going on as well that we address in the program, but you really want to take into account, why you're really here. So I know on the worksheet, do you guys all have that worksheet that's got the lines? I think it's
on the very back.
On the very back, yeah. I'm going to grab one too, because I need one. So, so have that out, because we're going to use that in just a moment. So what's your weight costing you, or what's your lifestyle costing you? You know, again, this kind of goes with why you're here. A lot of people don't think about it in that sense of, you know, what is maybe this habit or this lifestyle costing me in the rest of my life. And I'll kind of give you an example, and we'll kind of run through, you know, sometimes you want to think about maybe how my life could be better if I do a program like this, or are you unhappy potentially with the way things are going because of your lifestyle and maybe your relationships or your career, you think it could be better? Do you maybe lack the confidence to go for certain things you really wanted to do because of your weight or because you just don't think you'll be able to? You're scared, you don't think you're in the great enough shape to do something? Are you ignoring maybe certain aspects of your life because, you know, you're not happy with the way you look, or you don't think you've got the capacity to really do this or that? So this kind of goes back to, one, why you're here, and two, you really got to start thinking about, you know, what your weight or what your lifestyle may be costing you in other parts of your life, basically. Or maybe, you know, your health in general is just holding you back in certain areas of things you might want to do. Maybe you wanted to run a marathon or something, that's an example, or do this or do that, and you think, well, I don't even know if I can start because I feel like I'm so out of shape, or I'm just not really happy with the way I'm at right now, and you don't really know where to start. So what I want you guys to do is just take a quick minute. You'll see on the top there, just 30 seconds to a minute, write down anything that you think, you know, your lifestyle or your weight or this or that is kind of keeping you from doing. So you see it says, what are your weight, lifestyle, eating habits costing you? So go ahead and write some things down, whatever you think it might be costing you. No, just keep the video going because I want it to be all connected for sure. So, yeah, just take 1 minute. I'll try to put some music back on for you guys real quick. It's not dead silence. It's an interesting station I found earlier today.
Good.
Don't think too hard about this either. You know. These are things you probably think about all the time but don't really realize, you know, what these things are costing you. So, 30 more seconds, and we'll keep going. How was the traffic, by the way? I think Friday nights, we're going to rule those out from now on. All right. Here we go. All right, so, you know, if I were to write some things down on here, I didn't have a pen, but for me, you know, at this point in time, because it's not like when you achieve a result, that you want to stop kind of thinking about how you can be better, because again, that's what gets you to a certain point. If you become real complacent, that's when, you know, the pounds start to come on one at a time, or things start to change, or you kind of slowly, you know, nobody gains 50 pounds in a day. You know, they slowly gain it over a certain period of time by either lifestyle choices or letting certain things get away from them, or maybe not, you know, taking control when they could have. But at this time, you know, for me, and I'll tell you another story in a little bit, because for some of you guys are probably like, why is this skinny guy up here telling me about, you know, how to lose weight? So I'll tell you a story. I've gone up and down a couple times in weight, and I'll get to that in just a little bit. But for me, you know, my weight, my lifestyle, my eating habits, I'm pretty happy with my weight. Obviously, when I got to about where I am right now, I'm very comfortable here. I'm not self-anxious about anything like that. So, you know, it's not costing me anything socially. My lifestyle, pretty happy with it. I might go out to eat a little bit more than I should. But really, when I think about it, you know, I don't. And we'll talk more about, you know, all that kind of stuff a little bit down the road. And in my eating habits, to this point, I've developed what I think are very good eating habits. And again, so the idea is that if you guys are writing something down now that you're saying, well, my weight or my lifestyle or my eating habits are costing me this, this, and this, in the future my goal is for you to be able to write, well, it's not costing me anything because I'm really happy with the way I'm eating, I'm really happy with my lifestyle, and I feel like I'm not having to sacrifice here or, be ashamed about something over here because of my weight. So, does anybody want to share? I know we don't have a big group, but participation is always great, kind of helps make that group dynamic. Does anybody have a particular thing that they feel like, even if you just have a general question, now's a good time to ask that, your weight or eating habits or lifestyle you think is costing you or something that you could change? Anybody have anything they want to share? Not right now? That's okay. All right, no problems. No problems. We'll get to that. You guys will open up in a little bit. All right, so again, this is to kind of get you thinking about where you're at now. And the idea, people don't ever really make a change in their life until they become, disturbed, basically. And I know that's a strong word. People are like, I don't want to be disturbed about the way I feel about myself. But it's true. I mean, think about other times where you've had to make a change in your life. It probably wasn't just because you were like, well, it's not going that great, so I want to make this drastic change. No, a lot of times people have to really get to themselves to the point where, like, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to have this kind of lifestyle, I'm not going to be this weight anymore, I'm going to make a change now. So that's what these kind of exercises are about, is really showing yourself where you are now. And again, there's a reason that you're here. It's because you hopefully want to make a change. Otherwise, you're just here because you have nothing better to do on a Friday afternoon at 5:30. So let's get into kind of personal experiences. So, all you guys probably have a different experience with weight loss, whether you've maybe tried to lose weight and it didn't work out, you couldn't even do it at all, or you struggled to get started, so you said, I'm going to lose some weight, and you're like, well, alright, I guess maybe I'll just cut something out, or I'll skip lunch, and it didn't really work out. Maybe, this is your first time trying to lose weight, you've never really thought that you needed to lose weight before, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe I'm getting to that point because either you think, you just don't like the way you look in the mirror, or you're a little more conscious about your health. I mean, it's not always just about, a specific number and a specific weight. You could be super skinny and still die of a heart attack at 45. Again, it's not all about the weight. It's all about, it's a healthy lifestyle is what's most important. If my goal as a physician is to decrease your chance of developing any sort of disease, basically. And if that means that you're gonna get there by losing a certain amount of weight, then awesome. And obviously this program is designed to do that as well. I'm not coming in here saying, well, I'm going to keep you from having a heart attack. We'll see if you lose any weight. Obviously, you're here because you also want to lose some weight. So that's the main focus. It's really, when you think about your personal experience, it's kind of about defining the problem. When you think about how you've dealt with your weight in the past up to this point, that will kind of show you what your problem has been. Whether you're sure of what's caused the weight gain or you're not. It's all about defining your specific problem, because yours is going to be different than the next person, just like your kind of journey through weight loss is going to be different than someone else's over here. So I'll tell you about so like I told you, I've gained weight and lost weight twice now. So first time, and I'll kind of combine the stories. The first time was in high school. Just going into high school, that's when you care the most about how you look, right? And then your face gets covered in acne and everything just goes south. But anyways, I took a job at Dairy Queen. First summer I had a job, I could walk there because I didn't have a car, so I was like, this is great. I'm going to go work at Dairy Queen. And I was probably 2 inches shorter than this, and probably 40 pounds less or something, maybe 30 pounds less. I forget exactly how much I weighed when I went into Dairy Queen. But anyway, so I'm working at Dairy Queen, going about my thing, and basically I woke up one day and I remember I had never worried about like what I'd eaten up to this point. I kind of ate whatever, just didn't worry about it. My parents wanted me to just eat whatever there was because they thought I was too tall and too skinny. So I woke up one day and I looked in the mirror and I was like, what the heck happened to my face? Because I felt like my cheeks had blown out to here. You know, all this was out here. I, you know, love handles, the whole 9 yards, even had the stretch marks going on the back there, and I was like, how did I get to this point? And that's kind of how it happens sometimes. We don't really notice we're gaining the weight until it sort of gets to a certain amount, and then our mind perceives that we've made that big change, because you see yourself every day and you don't really notice the little changes either until it's enough to really make that perception. So I worked there for 3 months, and I had gained 35 pounds in a 3-month period as I was going into high school. And let me tell you, if that doesn't give you some anxiety, there's nothing else that will. So it was the first time that I had gotten to the point where I wasn't thinking about it, but my weight was costing me things because I was being self-conscious. I remember changing in the locker room, kind of off in the corner, because people that had knew me, they were maybe hadn't seen me over the summer. They were like, "What happened to you? You gained all this weight." And so I'd become very self-conscious. There were certain things I didn't want to go to the pool, I didn't want to do this and that, all those kind of typical things that you think about. It's a little more obvious sometimes as a kid, but I mean, we still do the same thing as an adult. If you're anxious or ashamed or not thinking that you can do a certain thing because of your weight or your shape, it's no different than when you're a kid. Second time I gained weight was when I was basically kind of going towards the end of college, coming out of college. And this was a little bit more slower. This wasn't 30 pounds over a summer. But I came out of college and I went to live with my wife's parents up here in Chicago. And one day I stepped on the scale, and just to give you a point of reference, I'm about 175 pounds right now. Most people put me about 165. 175 pounds right now. I stepped on the scale and I was 225 pounds. So I was 50 pounds more than I was right now. And my wife looked down and she was like, "Holy crap, how did you get to 225? And I said, "Well, obviously the scale is broken, so we need to go home and get a new scale." So I didn't believe it. I knew I had gained a little weight, but I didn't know that I had gone up by roughly 50 pounds towards the end of college going into grad school. So that was the second time I gained some weight. And just to reverse real quick, I had lost the weight obviously from the first time I gained it. I changed my lifestyle, did a lot of stuff, and I lost the weight. So now here I am, second time gaining weight, and I made a decision. I said, okay, well, I don't want to be this size, because it was actually getting to the point where it was starting to affect my health a little bit. I had had some heartburn in the past, but being, at this size seemed to be giving me quite a bit more heartburn, indigestion, more asthma. So it was actually getting to the point where it was kind of affecting my weight. So I said, well, I had to make a change, because one, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the fact that when I sit down to have dinner with my wife at a restaurant, I want to unbutton my top button because my stomach is getting crushed. And again, the health problem, the health issues were obviously there too, and I wanted to change that. So I had to make a conscious decision to change. It wasn't just, well, I'll try to change a little bit here and this and that. I said, I've got to change this, I've got to change this and this, and I have to stick to it. I can't just kind of do it 25 or 30%. I've got to do it 100%, basically. So, again, you'll see that on the next line it says, what's your experience been with weight loss? So, take a minute, just write some stuff down. Maybe somebody will want to share this time, or at least ask a question. I'll give you guys another minute. We'll play some more music. Am I staying in the camera? Okay.
You forgot to introduce everybody to one of the guys that was from the first group.
Oh, yeah. This is Steve from the first group. He doesn't talk a whole lot, so he lost so much weight we gotta prop him up on this stick. seconds. All right. So, I already told you my experience with weight loss and weight gain and all that stuff. And, you know, again, the bottom line was I had to make a decision to change. And we're going to talk about, you know, making choices. But the point was it wasn't, you know, 25 or 30%. It was a change that, one, I was comfortable with. Two, I wasn't sacrificing anything, which was makes a big difference. And we'll talk a little bit about the idea that in this program, nobody feels like they're sacrificing anything, and that's important, because if you start a diet and you feel like, or a weight loss program, and you feel like you're constantly sacrificing or missing out or whatever, then you're not going to stick with it. It's never going to work. So you have to agree with the choices that you've made, so they can't feel like they're being forced. So does anybody want to share or have a question about anything they've experienced with weight loss or anything at all right now?
I'll go.
Sure.
About 10 years ago, I had a little trauma that I didn't want to get any more depressed about, so I gave up sugar.
Okay.
Like, I started in January, and by February, March, I was losing weight. I gave up sugar, including alcohol.
Gotcha.
And it got, like by May, I thought I might have cancer or something, because the pounds were just falling off me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But suddenly they've come back, and I'm guessing it's because I can't sleep
Okay.
more than 5 hours a night.
Gotcha.
Because
All
I
right.
still, even when I was not eating sugar, I was eating tons of other food.
Yeah.
When I'd go out.
Yeah.
It made no difference.
Okay.
And the weight would still come off.
And that, you say this January recently? Or
No, about 10 years ago.
10 years ago,
actually.
okay. Just make sure. All right. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, and that definitely, we haven't really talked about it, but a lot of the parts of this program, you know, it's not just all about changing the food. To give you an example, you're going to see changes in, you know, a lot of different things, sleep, this and that, and an example, one of the people in the other group, and they're still going, they're not done yet, so they still have about a month or so left. But this person, when she came in, she had to go down the stairs on her hands and knees because she can't walk upright. She does now. She came in on a walker. She was complaining to me of acid reflux, vomiting all the time, pains in the joints, this and that. And obviously, like I told you guys, my goal in this program is, one, to help you lose weight and get healthy, but we're always looking for unexpected outcomes, as I call them. And I'll go through some more of the unexpected outcomes we saw from the first group. But this particular person, she doesn't have to walk with a walker anymore. She doesn't have acid reflux. She doesn't vomit. She can walk up and down stairs fine. She doesn't have aches and pains anymore. She used to take 3 Excedrin a day. She doesn't take any more Excedrin unless she has to work the night shift, and then it's just 1 Excedrin. She's not afraid to eat food anymore, which was a big thing for her. She said half the food she ate, she'd get heartburn or she'd vomit. So she doesn't have to, she can eat basically whatever she wants, other than the things I told her that she should stay away from, obviously. But we get these unexpected outcomes, and that's something that, you know, for you, the sleeping issue may be something that is resolved through a program like this. And, you know, we've got another person in the program, kind of getting ahead, but more to your particular topic, we got another person in the program who had sleep apnea before he started. And now, as far as I know, he no longer has sleep apnea.
He's
and
off the
yeah,
machine
he's off the machine.
that he was using to sleep at
and
night.
he's doing really good. So these are these unexpected outcomes we look for in a program like this, you know, because the way we live our life has a huge effect on our health, obviously, and a lot of people sometimes don't make that connection. But most definitely, yeah. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to ask a question or share anything right now? All right, so
I was sleeping horribly before the program.
Yeah.
I know 2 people know I'm in the program. I'm in the first group, but I was sleeping horribly, and part of mine was hormone imbalance, and through doing this, I'm sleeping good. I'm getting some great dreams in. So it's helped me too.
Definitely, and like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the results of the first group to give you guys an idea of what you could potentially expect. So, alright, so I put this chart up here. This is a BMI chart. So some of you are probably familiar. Who's familiar with what BMI is? Probably most people have heard that term at least once. So body mass index, and these are kind of the categories. You got underweight, normal, overweight, obese, extremely obese. But the reason I put this up here is because I want you guys to kind of focus more on the top where you see various pictures of people. And again, this kind of goes back to knowing where you are now, but you know, what's your image of yourself, your body image? When you look in the mirror or when you think about yourself, you know, do you think this is an obese person, or this is a fat person, or a chubby person, or whatever? You know, what are you not happy with, and what do you think could be better, and what do you know that could be better through one, weight loss, and changing your lifestyle? So one last time for me, on the next line you'll see how do you see yourself and what are you not happy with. So this is where you'll write basically anything else that you'd like to change, what you're not happy with, or you know, the negative ways you hey, and if you see yourself positively, write that down too, because positive reinforcement is always great. Definitely. So I'll give you guys about a minute. Does anybody know who Tony Robbins is, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody been to a seminar he does? I want an entrance like Tony Robbins. I want to be able to, everybody's
that
jumping
going.
in the air doing this. Like
We'll work on
2,000
that for the
people.
next time,
And you
okay?
can walk on fire too.
Yeah.
Or coals, whatever they are.
Yeah.
Step up our game, huh?
That's right. I'm going to get a coal pit in here next time. It's going to be awesome. Maybe out the back.
For the open house.
Yes, yes. I'm going to do coal watch for the open house, fire-wise. Okay. So, I'll start talk about how I see myself, because again, the point is, if you guys are writing things down now that you're not really happy with, my goal is to have you be able to fill this sheet up with good things, you know, positive things. So how do I see myself now? Well, sometimes I think I'm a little bit too skinny, at least that's what other people tell me. I have a lot of people tell me they think I look 165 pounds, especially my wife's family. My wife's family is all Russian, so they love to eat and they love to yell at each other. But anyways, every time I go over there, they always tell me that I'm too skinny or too this, and I joke with my wife, and I'm like, no, I'm not too skinny, they're just, you know, too fat. So, but I'm joking. But anyways, you know, for me, I'm very happy with the way I see myself. You know, maybe I could get a little bit bigger, but at this point in my life, I know how to easily kind of manipulate my weight up and or down, because I've gotten so comfortable with where I'm at right now. So the idea is, as you go through a program like this and you know how your body's going to change, you'll be able to anticipate possible issues down the road. You know, a year or two from now, if you do see your weight fluctuate one way or another, you're going to know exactly how to get it back down. It's not going to be like, oh, my weight's going up again, what the heck do I do? No, you're going to know exactly what to do, because you're going to know almost as much as me. So again, I'm happy with the way I see myself. And are there things that I'm not happy with regarding weight? No, not really. No, pretty good with everything. So, alright, so for you guys, I'm sure you're not going to want to share things you're not happy with yourself out, but does anybody have a question, or does anybody want to share anything they wrote down? Anybody? No?
Well, I can share.
Okay, sure.
I was very unhappy with the fact that my underwear elastic used to fold down. It doesn't now. And my thighs, the rubbing of the thighs, very uncomfortable. Not so bad now. So, anyway,
Awesome.
it's much better to share it on this side.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, great. All right, well, again, if you want to share or raise your hand, just let me know. But,
Otherwise, he'll just point at me.
yeah. We'll just have Lisa talk the whole time. So, all right. So now, hopefully, you guys have all probably got a pretty good idea of, where you're at, why, one, you're here, and what you need to either change or what you want to change about yourself. So you've got a good starting point. And again, that's important. You're not just going, well, I think I need to lose a little weight. You're going, I know this is what I'm not happy with, and this is what I want to change, and maybe this is where I want to be, and we'll get to the goals in just a little bit. But let's talk about some more fun stuff. So everybody likes to read those 5 weight loss myths and facts and all that kind of garbage you see on the internet. So we're going to talk about some myths, and we'll see who thinks these are true and not true. And so one myth I hear a lot of people say, if I just eat less and do more cardio, I'll lose weight, no problem. So who thinks that their solution to weight loss is just to decrease their calories and hit the gym really hard? I mean, most people probably think.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I know, you're going, what's wrong with that?
You're about
And
to
you know
find
what?
out.
For some people, I'm not going to lie. For some people, that may be all they need. But a lot of times, it's not. And a lot of times, I know plenty of people who work out. We have, there's actually a couple people in this group that have kind of already started a little bit ahead of, you guys, just because of scheduling issues. But I've known plenty of people who tell me when they come in, Doc, I work out 2 hours a day, I watch what I eat, I do this and that, and I don't lose any weight. And then I say, okay, all right, great, you're already doing good, you're already in the right direction. And then I have them, give me a food diary of a week. I had them do a toxicity report, and I have them do this and that, and I look at it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, so you told me that you eat really healthy and you work out, so it looks like you're definitely working out, but what you think is eating healthy or eating less calories is not really doing anything for your weight loss. It's not doing anything for your metabolism. So there's usually always holes in it, and if it's not that, then it's something like hormones or something else, and we're going to get into that. So, it's not as simple as just trying to decrease your calories and hitting the gym. For some people that may work, but for a lot of people it doesn't really work out so easily. And if that's all their goal is, a lot of times it's not maintainable either, because one, they're not educated on what's going to happen when they start to lose weight. Alright, so it's my genetics. Everybody in my family is big with the slow metabolism or the big bone syndrome, all that kind of stuff. Because you guys are walking around with giant bones, much bigger than the rest of the population. So, again, this is one I hear a lot. The genetics thing does come up quite a bit. And, I'm not saying that there is no genetic factor whatsoever when it comes to weight loss and weight gain. There certainly is genetic factors with these various things, but it's one, knowing what they potentially could be, and if there is a genetic issue, there's always a workaround for something like this. There's always a way, unless you have if you have a thyroid issue, then that's kind of a different story. But even that, we can work with. So, you can't blame it on genetics. I'll throw out kind of a statistic that I think sticks for most people, and I call it the 70-20-10 rule, and it's kind of a generality, but a lot of times for the majority of the population, 10% of it is genetics, 20% of it is exercise, and 70% is all the stuff that nobody does. So diet, hormones, natural this and that, all that kind of stuff that we really stress in this program. So genetics can play a component, but it's not, people use it as an excuse, and when you use it as an excuse, it becomes a myth. So by exercising constantly every day at a high intensity, I can increase my metabolism and lose weight. This kind of goes along with number one a little bit, but there are people who think that, if who thought that maybe if they just started exercising, that would be the key? Has anybody maybe thought that? Yeah, some people have thought that, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's sure. Sure, and again, I'll say that, you know, there may be some people out there through just hitting the gym, they'll get some results, but again, you know, this one is more of a myth than this one, because a lot of times people start exercising, yeah, you burn extra calories, but a lot of times people will start eating more when they start exercising, or they'll change certain other habits, and it kind of cancels things out. So just thinking that you're going to hit the gym and you're going to lose a bunch of weight is not the right mindset. So that is definitely not true. I'll just buy no-fat or low-fat meals and have drinks with no-calorie sweeteners, and then I'll lose weight. So who thought that maybe at one time their option to lose weight was to just cut out all the fat and take a bunch of no-calorie food, you know, Diet Coke instead of regular Coke and stuff like that. You know, it's that information is getting out there a little bit more, but it's certainly a misconception that, you know, decreasing fat and decreasing calories is just going to solve all your problems. One, fat, and we'll talk more about this, fat is not the issue. I mean, it might be the issue, you know, that might be what's sticking in your head right now, but fat in foods is not the issue. I can tell you that right now. Unless you're eating piles of trans fat all day, fried chicken like crazy, then yeah, it's the issue. But for most people, fat is not the issue. And a lot of times these no-calorie sweeteners or this low-fat stuff is causing more of a problem. We're not going to get into all that right now, but you know, I'll go on a little side note here and talk about this kind of low-fat, no-fat craze that really started basically kind of back in the 70s and 80s is when doctors started saying, you know, eat meals or eat food with low fat, low fat, low fat, low fat, this and that. And they were making all these other kinds of fats that you didn't digest, like trans fat and all that kind of stuff. But if you think about it, we've been on this low fat, and they're still doing the low fat kick. We've been on this low fat kick for a long time, and obesity's gone up, heart disease has gone up, cancer has gone up, everything related to diseases of basically being overweight have all gone up. So it's pretty obvious that, you know, this low-fat craze is not the answer. So here's one I'm sure a couple people will probably think a little bit more about. My husband cuts out one thing and he loses 20 pounds in a month, but it seems like I have to all but starve myself to lose weight. This is something my wife has told me. She thinks that I lose weight no problem, which is true. I can, like I told you, I can gain and lose weight pretty easily because I know what works for my body and what doesn't. And I'm not going to say that there's no difference between men and women when it comes to losing weight. But I will say that when I hear women say this, and I think, well, why are you comparing yourself to your husband when you should be comparing yourself to other women? Because in that sort of playing field, it's even. I mean, if you were to say, well, you know, all women have trouble losing weight, that's not the truth. But there are a lot of different factors when it comes to the difference between men and women and weight. A lot of hormonal issues come into play here. So those are the real big differences, and we address those in the program. So we talk a lot about that, but you know, it's always disappointing to hear people use that kind of as an excuse that makes them maybe feel a little bit better about the fact that, you know, they're not happy with the way they look because they think, well, it's tough because I'm a woman and my husband can lose weight so easily, but I'm never going to be able to lose weight. So why can't I lose weight and keep it off? So we're going to start talking about, you know, the reasons why people struggle with weight loss. So obviously I just kind of talked about it a little bit, unknown hormonal imbalances. And this does come into play more for women than it does for men. And when I say hormonal in this case, I'm not talking about maybe the hormones that are associated specifically with hunger, but I'm talking about more like the hormones associated with the various body systems, your adrenal glands, your thyroid glands, this and that. So I'm not going to, you know, weigh you down with all the sciencey stuff right now, but the point is that if you have an unknown hormonal imbalance or a subclinical hormonal imbalance and you're trying to lose weight, you're basically, you know, fighting an uphill battle. It's probably not going to happen, or you're going to have to go to drastic measures to overcome that hormonal imbalance. environmental stressors, toxins, medications, various things like that. We take a lot of junk into our body from the outside world, whether it's from regular medication or it's basically from non-natural sources. And these have a strong effect on our body. And certain people process these things differently. Eventually they build up. You start to clog your livers, various organ systems. And when that happens, you know, the organs that are involved with processing fat, basically primarily the liver, if they can't do their job, what the heck do you think the fat's going to do? It's kind of like if you got a sink, let's say your liver is a sink, alright? And instead of water, fat water goes into that sink. And it's supposed to take it and do its thing and kind of get rid of what you don't need and hold on to what you do need. Well, if that starts to get clogged up, it can only work so fast, so the excess fat has to go somewhere, obviously, probably the places you don't want it to go. So by getting rid of these environmental toxins, we can affect weight loss. Emotional and psychological needs, this is obviously a big one for some people, whether you're a stress eater or maybe eat when you're upset, this and that. I'll tell you right now, we all have some form of psychological association when it comes to food. Everybody, whether it's stress or upset, or I've had people tell me they eat more when they get happy, so we all have some association, psychological association with food. And if we can figure that out, we can anticipate when something may come up, and we can obviously make a much better choice because we're aware, we know what's going to happen. You look like you have a question.
No.
Okay.
Not occurred to me, that's all.
Not exercising right or not at all. So, obviously exercise is important. And I know I said earlier, it's a myth saying you can just go to the gym and lose weight. But we really should be exercising. I mean, the science is there, the studies show it. You got to do some kind of physical activity. It's only going to help. Having said that, you know, in the program we talk a lot about exercise, and I'll get into that. It's not everything. You know, there's a lot more that you need to do than just exercise. Unable to regulate appetite and cravings. So people struggle with sometimes their ability to regulate their cravings. You know, I had a person in our first program constantly craving sweets all the time. Another person who's just recently started, he constantly craved chocolate every time after every single meal. So these kind of cravings, we have to learn how to control those. We have to find ways to control them. But we'll talk more about it. But it's not always your fault. Again, everybody associates cravings with willpower, and willpower is really maybe 20% of it. The rest is has a lot to do with, one, what you are eating, two, your general hormone imbalance or balance, and three, kind of your level of certain activities. So there's a lot more to it than just your willpower. Worrying too much about decreasing fat and calories. So people who go on weight loss programs or diets, whatever, they get really caught up in the idea that I'm just going to decrease fat and decrease calories. And I already kind of taught you about how that's not the answer, because fat is not the enemy, and sometimes calories aren't really the enemy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Not in the right place mentally. Obviously, when you're starting a weight loss program, one, you gotta be in the right place mentally. Like I said, it can't be 20 or 30%. It's got to be 100%. You got to know that this is going to make a lasting change in your life. This is going to make you better at the end, and it's going to help you make those around you better as well. So you really have to be in the right place mentally, for sure. So what can we do? So let me talk a little bit about what we're going to be kind of doing in this program. Because you're probably like, this guy's talking about all this stuff. He hasn't told me anything about the program yet. So we're going to address 5 key areas. All right? That's not a big number. It's not 7 to 10, 13. We keep it simple. So it's 5 key areas. All right? Metabolism. Obviously, that's a big one. Metabolism is how your body burns things when you bring it in. Appetite. Talked a little bit about that. We got to be able to control the appetite and modulate the appetite in order to kind of control things that we eat. Mentality, obviously I just said that you got to have the right sort of mentality when, one, you're in a program, and two, when you're going forward. Because if you come out of a program and you say, great, I hit my goal, I'm going to just do whatever now. I'm going to go to Wendy's and eat that large Frosty and those fries that I haven't had for 2 or 3 months, and then I'll kind of get back on the wagon. That's my one meal that, that doesn't work. You have to develop that sort of mentality where you're, one, always positively reinforcing yourself, and two, your mindset has to be that this is my lifestyle now, not what it was before, but in order for that to stick, you also have to be happy with it, and that's very important. Hormones. So, if you haven't noticed by now, hormones is a big deal here, alright? And we have to be able to, one, modulate those in people whose issue is hormones if they can't lose weight, and we certainly do that in the program through various means. So, and again, it kind of depends whether, it's a male or female, but you can have hormone imbalances in both males and females. So that's a big part of the program that we address. Fitness, like I said, you do need to be doing some kind of exercise, but a lot of times people don't really know what is the most beneficial, or what's the biggest bang for their buck, this or that. So fitness is another key component of the program. So 5 things there: metabolism, appetite, mentality, hormones, and fitness. Alright, and I'm going to tell you in a little bit about how we affect these 5 key things. Did it start over? Okay. If we can make a lasting change in these 5 simple key areas, then we can really make a healthier version of ourselves that we're going to be able to maintain, because it's like I told you, these changes you're making in your life are things that you are agreeing with, that you're happy with, and you don't feel like you're sacrificing. So, let's talk about the facts of weight loss, weight gain, and all that fun stuff. So, if you skip a meal to save calories, which I know plenty of people have done, and I'll tell you a little story of my dad, and you go up to 12 hours sometimes without eating, you're decreasing your metabolism by up to 40%. So you're cutting your metabolism in half, basically, if you think, I'm going to skip a meal to save calories, and that's going to be fine. Everybody talks a lot about the calories in, calories out type thing. And you know what? Yeah, it does hold true in people whose problem is more calories in than calories out. If you've got an issue with hormones, if you've got an issue with irregular metabolism, this or that, then that idea of calories in, calories out most likely won't hold true to you. So my dad was a big problem with this, and he knows that he would, every time we'd go over there for like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, he'd be like, well, I'm not going to eat lunch so I can save my calories for later and eat this big old meal, and then I'm going to go on the couch and fall asleep in 5 minutes. So a lot of people do that because they don't know, they just assume, I'm saving my calories, but it wreaks havoc on your metabolism. It really tears you up. So this is a study, Women's Health Initiative. They took 50,000 women and put them on low-fat diets, which everybody thought low-fat, that's the answer to my weight loss. Followed them for 10 years, found on average they lost 2.5 pounds. That's negligible. I gain and lose 2.5 pounds in a day. Alright, so going on a low-fat diet, basically, it does nothing. That's not going to be the answer. Alright? Regular consumption of diet soda increases waist size by 70% on average. 70%. So, let's say, for guys, you're size 36 or size 32. Could you imagine being a size 50-something, or women? You guys do the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 stuff, whatever that means. Let's say you're a 10, now you're going up to a 17 potentially. So these changing or using food that has these calories, 0-calorie sweeteners, basically they're not the answer. They don't help. They make things worse. Individuals who use nutritional supplementation on average weigh less than their counterparts. It's pretty obvious. They've done multiple studies on this, and there's a lot that goes into this, but the idea is that, if you're going to supplement, most likely you're going to weigh less than the person next to you who does not. Anybody have any questions about those facts?
What kind of supplements?
Yeah, what are they talking about?
That's when I'm talking about supplements, I'm referring more to the idea, the study that was done basically is kind of a general study. When they do these studies, it's more like a questionnaire. So it's, do you supplement on a regular basis? Do you not supplement on a regular basis? The people that were regularly supplementing, not necessarily specific supplements, tend to weigh less than the person next to them. And that, like I said, that can be due to the fact that this person who supplements generally lives a healthier life, or they're more kind of aware of their health, this and that. Or it also suggests that the idea of supplementation, specifically supplementation for either weight loss, metabolism, gastrointestinal stuff, is going to help you either lose or maintain weight versus the person next to you who doesn't do any sort of supplementation. That's basically what that is saying. So it's kind of a general statement about a study where they looked at people who do supplement versus people who do not supplement. So it's kind of how they do certain studies, but the idea is that it's coming back to making healthier choices and doing certain things that are going to maybe give you the edge over somebody else who's not doing that specific thing to potentially lose weight or not. So one last weight loss fact. This is a little bit longer, but I thought this was interesting because people always talk about 30 pounds in 30 days. But the average woman at 180 pounds burns about 2,000 calories a day. A pound of body fat contains about 3,500 calories. So if your goal was to lose 30 pounds realistically in 30 days, or at least 30 pounds of fat in 30 days, you would basically have to stop eating and start riding your bike 5 hours a day from here going forward. Alright? So I don't know about you, but I like to eat something, and I certainly don't have time to ride my bike 5 hours a day. So this whole idea of lose 30 pounds in 30 days, or 30 pounds of fat in 30 days, it's not a realistic thing. It's basically impossible. The only way you can lose 30 pounds in 30 days is if you are massively, massively overweight. But then you're losing a lot of water weight, if anything. Who in here has seen Biggest Loser? Yeah, or watched the show ever. Sometimes they lose like 15 pounds a week, 4 weeks in a row, but they're starting out at 500 pounds. So that's kind of a different scenario. Alright, so that's an extreme example, basically. So in the program, we're about creating new alternatives, basically. So through the program, we're going to create empowering new thoughts, beliefs, and habits, because when something's a habit, it becomes very easy. You don't even think about it. Think about when you got up and you drove to work today. Did you focus on getting in the car and starting up and driving and turning this way? You've done that hundreds, thousands of times, so it becomes a habit. You don't have to think about it. It doesn't stress you out every time you do it. So when you create new habitual healthy patterns, it becomes very easy. It basically becomes something you think that you should do, or that you know that you should do, but you don't have to think about it. It just becomes easy, natural, basically. And these new alternatives we're going to create are based on factual evidence. So we're not having you do weird, kooky stuff in this program that, we thought up and we're like, yeah, we're going to wave some chickens over their heads and do chants and then they're going to lose weight. This is all based on real factual evidence, real studies. And from this, basically, we create goals. So once you have created these new habits and you know what you're doing going forward, you can set up goals that are realistic based on, factual evidence. So again, we're not going to create some lofty goal that you'll probably never achieve, although our first group kind of blew all my expectations away, so that was interesting. But again, this is all based on real stuff, not fake kind of hokey, drink honey water and lemons for 3 weeks and lose all this weight kind of stuff. So we're getting into what the program really is now. So this is the thing, and we're back to the 5 easy, I call them easy yet powerful choices, because one, they're not huge, ridiculous changes, but they make a huge change in your life, basically. And again, it's just 5, just like we had 5 key parts, we have 5 choices, alright? So we've got the whole body expert analysis. So that's basically your initial consultation. That's when we look at hormone imbalances, we look at what you've been eating previously, we basically look at everything. So we look at every different angle of how we're going to help you achieve your goal and lose the weight, whether it's, again, a hormone issue, a food issue, this issue, or whatever. So this is where we find all the answers and we lay out your plan. Total detox purification. So how many people here have done any sort of detox or purification ever, or even know what the heck I'm talking about? So we do a purification at the beginning of this program, and there's another slide in a little bit, and I'll talk about that in just a bit. But the reason we do this purification is because that is what is jump-starting everything. That is what's going to put you in the best, basically, mode to achieve your goals, lose the weight, change your lifestyle, decrease your cholesterol, whatever you're looking to do. All right? Coaching, education, and motivation. So basically, this is where some of the group meetings come in, because in this program we do group meetings, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a bit. But education and motivation and coaching you guys is a huge part of this. That's where the psychology comes in as well, because one, you got to be educated on this stuff. You can't just start a program and think that I'm going to drink 2 shakes a day and lose some weight, and then I don't want to think about anything else, and that's it. That's not going to work, because one, if you're educated, you're going to know how to maintain the weight loss in the future. And again, this program is all about personalizing your experience, personalizing your path, and then when you're all said and done, you know how to maintain it. You know how to keep it going. 95% of the time, diets fail. 80% of the time, when people lose weight, they gain it back. And most of the time, it's because they're not educated, they don't know what to expect, and they don't know what happens when they start to lose weight. So we've got to coach you, educate you, and motivate you to make sure that, one, you achieve the goals you want, and two, you can maintain it going forward. Appetite and metabolism modification. Obviously, this is a big one, so we're going to modulate your metabolism. We're going to basically ratchet it up so your body naturally burns more calories, burns more fat. We're going to put your body literally into a state of metabolism. What that means is your body's going to eat the excess things that it doesn't need. Eat the excess fat. An example of what people use a catabolic kind of diet or plan is in cancer patients. If they want the tumor to potentially shrink, they put them into a catabolic state because the body eats the excess tissue, basically. So, and we're also going to obviously affect cravings, positively change your appetite, and basically lead you down the road to a healthier lifestyle through that. Exercise smarter, not harder. So, what this is, and I'll get a little bit more into it, but basically, we're going to teach you guys the best way to maximize your time when it comes to exercise, or whatever exercise you're doing, or what you may not be doing now. We're going to really show you how to utilize whatever is available to you to make the most with whatever time you have put aside to exercise, basically. So we're going to show you how to exercise smarter, not harder. And again, these are choices you make, because everything we're going through, some people are going to be a little bit better in certain parts of this, some people are going to be a little bit better in others. Some people aren't going to exercise as much, so for them, other parts of the program are going to be a little bit more emphasized. So you got to choose to make these changes in your life, basically. So everybody's going to choose different things, because again, nobody's path is the same, because this is always personalized. So the keys, again, I talked about the 5 key things. So really, we're changing those key things. So our choices affect these key areas of weight loss. And again, it's all about the choices you make. But you need the right tools, again, to make the right choices. And the program is what's giving you these right tools to make these choices. Success really breeds success. So think about times where you're successful in something previously, in work or whatever, and how that made you feel. My guess is you didn't have success and go, man, this was awful, I don't want this ever again. My guess is you're like, this is really good, I want to keep this going. So once you start to get success through the program, you're going to get excited, and naturally you're going to want to do better and better and keep going and move farther and make more changes. So success is really important, and let me tell you, everybody's pretty much achieved success through this program. Creating avenues to success. So we're really going to restore back to kind of the first thing, what your weight or lifestyle is costing you. We're really going to restore some of those things that maybe you've lost because of your weight or because of your lifestyle. And we're kind of redefining the unsolvable, because basically a lot of times people wake up and they look in the mirror, or throughout the day they go, I'm never going to be able to make this change. I don't know how I'm going to lose weight or do this or that. And in their mind, it literally becomes something that's impossible to do. So through the program, we really try to redefine the impossible and make it possible for you guys by showing you exactly what you need to do. So we got to set goals, obviously. So the first step is to know what you're going for, and then once we have a goal set and we reach it, we can obviously maintain that. But it's important for you guys to really kind of realize at this point that all your goals shouldn't just be a number. You shouldn't just have a number in your head that you're focusing on. It's good to have something you want to get to, but your goal should really be to lead a healthier life going forward with all this new stuff that you basically gained through this program, because that's what's really going to maintain it. If your long-term goal is to do this or this or this, or to live this way, then that's what's going to make it more real, instead of just going, well, I'm going to get to this weight, and then I don't know what I'm going to do after that. That's all I want, to just get to this weight, and then whatever, we'll see what comes next. So all this is really going to create success, and we'll get into now some of the results from the first group, which I'm sure you guys are kind of interested about. So the highest weight loss, and they're 2 months in basically. So the highest weight loss we've had is 35.5 pounds, which is a lot. It's definitely a lot. And I know that I kind of talked about the idea of, losing 30 pounds in 2 months is too much. And I'm not going to get into all the specifics about this, but when you're going through this program, you're not shedding, you're not starving yourself. You're not losing a bunch of muscle, not losing all this and that, because we measure your fat percentage, we measure your muscle percentage, we measure your visceral fat percentage, so we know that your muscle percentage is not going down. We know that it's going up as well. So these people aren't becoming, they're not starving their bodies. They're losing real good quality, basically, fat. The lowest weight loss was 16.7 pounds, which in 2 months, still pretty good. Especially for some people who, we had one person who started out pretty low, and this person was working out. This is I work out all the time, I eat really well, this and that, and this person is lost. This is what that number is. That's what that person has lost, basically. And they were struggling to lose this weight for a long time. So that puts the average weight loss at basically 24 pounds. Which, if you think about healthy, the AMA says healthy weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's what you should kind of shoot for. That's generally a guideline. So over 2 months, that's basically around 16 pounds. But through this program, knowing that we haven't decreased muscle mass, we're able to have an average weight loss at 24 pounds. So that's, if you think about that, that's really, really good with no decrease in muscle mass, basically. So we're definitely beating the AMA guidelines by a lot with this program. Highest fat loss percentage, so now we're talking specifically percentage of fat, is 8.5. So that's hard to visualize. It's a lot easier to think about pounds, but that's a noticeable change in percentage of fat. Especially, let's say you're starting at like 48, that's almost a quarter of your body gone in fat, basically. Lowest fat loss, 4%, still good for those people in the group who didn't have a lot to lose. It's not like everybody in the first group was morbidly obese. We had a pretty good range of people at the higher level and people at the lower level. Highest visceral fat loss, and that's fat around the organs. That's the one that we really want to watch out for, because the higher your visceral fat, the higher your chance of developing disease like heart disease, cancer, all this down the road. And people can we have a couple people in the group, and you would look at them and you wouldn't think that they were, you know, considerably overweight, but you measure, you find they have a fat percentage of, let's say, 24, which is all pretty close to normal, but they have a visceral fat of 17. That is very bad. You know, that is kind of a high indicator that they're going to have an issue down the road, whether it's heart disease or something else. So we have to obviously address that. Lowest visceral fat loss, 3%. So that's not something that goes down real fast, just to give you a heads up. Greatest BMI decrease, 6%. That's sometimes 2 categories down, a 6% decrease in BMI. Lowest is 3. So you can see the results we've gotten have been really good with this program. And again, nobody's complained of feeling like they're starving themselves about. So we basically take all things in. We look at specifically what's causing you to keep you from losing weight, or causing you to gain weight, this and that. So we look at and evaluate all the different weight loss blockers, basically. So comprehensive examination, identify your specific weight loss blockers, find out exactly what is or may keep you from losing weight. Analyze. We're looking at the physical, the hormonal, and the mental. We're looking at all different parts that go into a program like this. The purification program, that's the standard process purification program. So it's a whole food purification program, which means that it's made from actual food. It's not synthetically made, not Whole Foods as in the store. People always get that confused. So basically they're taking actual food and they're turning it into this purification. So you know it's nothing that's going to react with you, nothing that's going to cause a problem. It's all natural stuff.
What do you do with it?
We're going to get to that in just a little bit.
Okay.
We'll talk briefly. We're not going to get into the specifics of the purification probe, the heavy specifics, but we've got pamphlets here that talk about the purification program, and we can talk about that in just a little bit. So what this does is it jumpstarts your metabolism. All right? It removes the cellular inhibition, so it starts to work on those weight loss blockers, the things that aren't just related to, you know, your calories and your amount of exercise. It increases your energy. Everybody gets a huge increase in energy off doing this. It improves your digestion. So this is what really kickstarts everything, puts you on that right path, really enables you to achieve the goals that you're looking for. So this is a huge part of the program. It's the first 21 days, obviously. This is what makes a real big difference. 8 treatments. So in the program, you are going to come and see me 2 times, basically, before you see me normally in the program, one-on-one, 8 times, where we do these treatments, which consist of some of the stuff that you may already have done a little bit in the office when it comes to musculoskeletal pain. Obviously, if somebody has a muscle or a joint or whatever issue, we're going to have to address that too. Basically, when you're in this program, it's like you're a patient of mine, more or less, but now we're specifically focusing on weight loss. So these treatments consist of acupuncture, for weight loss, so that's a big part of it too. We do acupuncture for weight loss, metabolism, and appetite. Alright, so that's what's going to help help you with the cravings, help you with your appetite, all those various things. So we do acupuncture, and then we do some of the other stuff that we normally do in the office. The group seminars, so that should actually be 4 group seminars in the program, and it's 2 months, just in case you were wondering technically, but we do, I will see you guys at the end of the 3rd month to basically see how you're doing and make sure you're maintaining everything. But there's 4 group seminars, so roughly every 2 weeks. That's where we do a lot of the coaching, education, the motivational stuff, and it also makes you have that level of accountability, basically. So, you know, you're seeing other people in the group, and you kind of will hold yourself more accountable. That's why certain programs like Weight Watchers can be successful for some people, because that's maybe all they need. They need that accountability, and then they'll do all right. So we do the 4 group seminars. The personalized exercise program, so that's the work out smarter, not harder, and we're going to talk about that just a little bit more in a second, but that's where we're going to basically educate you really on how to maximize your time with whatever sort of workout you plan on doing to get the most results out of whatever amount of time you give yourself to exercise, basically. 9, dietary analysis. So in the dietary analysis, these are basically how we're looking at your progress. So you're going to come in and we're going to, check all the percentages, see how you're doing on this and that. Basically, this is when we'll evaluate if any changes need to be made when you're going through the program. We're going to initiate any sort of new elements to whatever kind of exercise you might be doing. Switch up potential supplements if we need to do any extra supplementation. So these are what the dietary analysis are. So when you come and see me one-on-one, you'll do the treatment for the weight loss with the acupuncture and then anything else we need to do, and then you'll do the dietary analysis where we look at how you're doing and how, if we need to change things, or if you're doing good, you kind of keep going with what you're doing. So that's what that is. So initial examination, purification program, 8 treatments. I think that number just changed from 600 to 700. There. So now, okay.
It's going up.
Yeah, it's going up. Sorry, the price just went up. So anyways, don't worry about that specific number right now. So, and then the dietary analysis. So all this added up is a value of right around 1,500, basically. All right. So let me ask you a question real quick. If I told you you could lose some of the poundage that you saw here, the fat percentage, all that stuff that the first group had, you're going to know how to maintain it going forward as long as you don't totally fall off the boat, and you're going to achieve all the goals that you want to achieve. If you could write me a check right now and make it happen instantly, you walk out the store and you achieve that goal. I mean, obviously that's impossible. But if you could do that, how many people would think that would be a reasonable thing to be able to do that? Obviously you can't just do that. But the idea here is this is a ton of value in a program, and there's no other, I can tell you right now, there's no other program that does all this stuff together. You can't find it anywhere else, basically. So, total value around $1,500. And what we're giving it to you guys for is an investment of $7.99, basically. So we're cutting the price in half, and I say investment because you're investing in your health. This is not like you're going to Macy's and buying a bunch of new clothes, or you're buying some new toy. This is an investment in the rest of your life. Alright, so this is not your average thing. So $7.99, and also possible insurance acceptance on a case-by-case basis. Do you have a question? Okay. So insurance stuff, some plans cover certain things, so that's something we can talk about one-on-one. I'll tell you right now, if you don't have Blue Cross, Blue Shield, PPO, probably insurance is not going to happen for you, just to give you a heads up. But we can always see. So that's something we can talk about one-on-one and go from there. But it's an investment of $7.99. And again, this is to change your life. This is to do all the stuff we talked about in the program to address basically any particular issue you could have with weight loss, and to go forward and be able to maintain that. We're doing a family discount. So second participant, if husband, wife, basically direct family, not like your buddy Jay over here from down the road. It's an investment of $6.99 for immediate family. And what I'll also add to this is anybody that decides to sign up today, and I know that it's kind of confusing with the insurance, so even if you have insurance, there's certain parts that won't be covered at all, which is basically the supplementation and probably the acupuncture. So I'll just go ahead and tell you that ahead of time. But anybody that decides to make the investment today, we'll give them $100 basically towards any sort of stuff through Back and Balance. So, that's future treatments, supplements, anything like that. Services and supplements, basically. You get a $100 credit as a way of, us saying thank you for choosing our program, but also to help you more down the road, because there's a chance you may need more supplements down the road, so it's going to make that a little bit easier. Okay? So any questions about that?
Is that a pay-as-you-go deal or what?
No, this is it's a one-time fee.
Okay.
And we do that because you have to be invested in a program like this. It can't be like, well, let me pay you this month and I'll see how it goes, and then we'll see how I'm doing the second week, and I don't know, this kind of sucks, and I'm out of here. So you gotta be, you know, it's like I said, it's 100%, or it's 100% or nothing. And it's not, this is not a hard, nobody in the first group has complained and said any part of this is hard. I mean, have you heard anybody say that this is a hard thing to do? No. It's simple, and we make it really easy and simple. I literally do all the work for you, and I say, this is all you need to do.
Take
all
exception to that.
Yeah, okay. So you do a little, you do some work. You certainly do some work. But I do all the brain power behind it, and I tell you what to do, and then, yeah, you do a little work on your own, obviously. But I make it as simple as possible for you guys, because along with it being personalized for you, simplicity is going to be important too. If I try to bog you down on all this crazy stuff, then it's not going to work out. But you get a lot over a period of time, and that's what makes it so you can maintain it, because you're educated and you know what to do going forward. Any other questions?
Yeah, when does it, like, kind of start? I have an issue because I'm out of town the last half of April.
Okay. So, yeah, we ran into some of that stuff with the last group. So, ideally, so this is the meeting. Ideally, we would try to start everybody so that if you come and see me, it's going to be within the next week to do your initial examination and all that stuff. So, and then you'll come and see me one more time. We'll say, all right, this is all the issues going on. This is what your plan is going forward. This is what we're going to hit. And then you start on the purification. Now, you said the second half of April? Okay. So what's the day kind of specifically?
It is like the 15th.
The 15th. Okay. So for people that have scheduling issues, we'll kind of have to talk a little bit out. You can take a break sometimes in the middle of the purification, but it doesn't really work. Are you flying?
No, I'm driving where I'm going, but I'm gone for a while.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And lots of nice meals.
Lots of nice meals. I gotcha. Yeah. So we've kind of hit the cutoff point for the 21 days as far as that whole thing goes. But there's no reason why we can either, there's different ways we can handle this. One, you can do kind of a truncated cleanse, purification. When you come back, you finish it out, you see how you do with that. Or you start certain things and then you get back and you start the purification, or you just start the whole thing when you get back.
Well, is the purification not eating anything?
No, you eat plenty of stuff. No, trust me.
You just have to have
You're
a
sucking
blender.
stuff down. Yeah, you just
fresh
gotta have a
food.
blender
Yeah.
and the food you're putting in it basically, and the stuff that, you know, the powder stuff that we
Yeah.
put in the purification.
Oh.
Now, so yeah, you're still eating.
Yeah.
There's no huge change to what you're eating other than certain things gotta go, obviously. You know, we can't get into all the specifics of that because it would take a while, but I would take this pamphlet, at least to kind of familiarize yourself with what it's going to be, but you're still eating, and you're eating sometimes 6 times a day.
Okay.
So, yeah, you're still eating. But if you have a car and you can pack the stuff in and you can get a blender, you can do it no problem. Definitely.
All right.
I just wanted to say, I'm eating more. I was eating more on the 21 days than I was eating before the program. I was having a hard time eating enough food because I was used to eating less food but high caloric, and now I was eating lower caloric but better for me food. So, I mean, it was hard to eat 5 or 6 times a day. In fact, I could only do 5 times a day.
Yeah, if anything, people start on the purification, they tell me that they're less hungry and they have less cravings. So, yeah, that's what this does for you, basically. So yeah, as long as you have access to a blender, you're fine. And you're not flying, because they don't like you to take bags of powder or tubs of powder or tubs of various things on a plane. They don't like that. So, the one more thing I'm going to add, so, wait, there's more, yeah. So we partnered with some of the gyms in the area. Our goal was to kind of include this originally, but we want to do a little bit differently. So we partnered with Flight Time, Charter Fitness, and 5 Seasons. And what you have, obviously, you got 3 options. And you'll kind of see up there, You can go to Lifetime and get the 2-month pass plus the registration fee and the fitness evaluation, which is regularly $287. You can get it for $185 through our program. And this is all to help you guys jumpstart your fitness and get into exercising if it's something you're not doing at all or doing very little of. We're trying to make things as easy as possible for you to do, basically. Charter Fitness, you can do 2-month pass plus registration fee, personal training 3 personal training sessions and the fitness evaluation. Regularly $250 for $189 through the program. 5 seasons, 2-month pass plus registration fee, fitness evaluation, which is regularly $350 for $204. Now that you don't have to think about right now, right this second. That's something that you should obviously do, but you got a little time to sort of think about and decide if it's something you want to do. But I highly suggest it because, one, if you ever thought about joining a gym, you're getting a crazy deal to begin with. So this is probably the cheapest you'll get any of these gyms at. And 2, it's going to really help you excel in a program if you're starting into fitness fairly quickly. All right, any questions about that? Pretty self-explanatory. So just to kind of finish off, like I said, you got to have a healthy mindset going into this. Your level of ideal weight, energy, vitality, you've got to be kind of visualizing it now. So hopefully you kind of got an idea of where you want to be based on, 1, the results from the first group. So obviously, who in here doesn't think that those were very good results? Okay, so everybody realizes those are pretty good results for a program that is not causing you to starve yourself or
It's a kids
yoga.
class.
Yeah. So again, you've got to start mentally visualizing this kind of thing and sort of prepping yourself up a little bit. And we'll talk more about this sort of visualization and the emotional, psychological stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to have to get you out of here pretty soon because they're going to start going crazy up there. So visualization, I do a visualization every day, and it changes because my goals change and I change the things that I visualize, and visualization just really helps things make it real, basically. It gets you that much closer, makes it that much more like you're going to do something. And it kind of goes with the idea that if you're telling yourself something every day, like I can't do this, or I'm bad at this, or I'm always going to be this way, you're gonna be that way. That's gonna be your reality. What you tell yourself every day is your reality. I guarantee. Wake up, 10 days in a row and tell yourself that I'm a piece of crap and I'm sad. You're gonna be a piece of crap and you're gonna be sad. You wake up every day and you tell yourself, I'm amazing. Or what I tell myself every day is that I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom daily. And at first it was kind of hokey, right? But the guy that told me this is a billionaire, and he said, if you want to be successful, tell yourself this one thing: I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom daily. And I started doing it, and now, if I'm a little conscious about something, or I'm worried about something, or maybe I'm having a big important meeting or something, I say that, and bam, my mental state is right there. I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to, do whatever I need to do. So visualization can be a powerful tool, especially when it comes to weight loss. And really all this is about finding a higher purpose. So why are you doing this? You're for yourself, maybe for your parents, for your spouse, child, a pet. I don't know, maybe you need to be healthier to walk your dog. A career, something you want to change in your career, your dreams. How can your life really be better through a program like this? Because it's not all about losing weight. It's about creating a better lifestyle going forward. How can you contribute more? My goal would be that you do great and you go out and you tell people, hey, I did this, whether they come and talk to me or not, but you inspire other people to improve their life and be healthier, because it just causes a chain reaction, basically. We had a whole family in the first group and they're all doing really great, and I'm sure if maybe one of them hadn't done the program, they'd probably be sitting here right now ready to do the program. So it kind of goes outwards. And you again realize that you're going to become basically a kind of superior version of yourself at the end of this program, and you're going to live that way every day because you made these choices. It was personalized for you, and now you know how to maintain it because you've got the education and the coaching, and you've made all these decisions basically, and you can go forward and maintain this. So thank you guys. I appreciate you coming out. I know we had, 7? So we had a lot more people signed up, and my guess is the group will be bigger than this when it comes down to it, if you guys come to the first group meeting and you do the program, because last time I think we had 6 people start out, and then within a week we had 6 more on the program, so it fluctuates definitely, but I think you guys will have a pretty good group going forward. So does anybody have any questions about anything for me right now?